How many hours of your life have slipped away in pointless arguments? How often have you walked away from a heated debate, your energy drained, your mind restless, your heart heavy, only to realize nothing truly changed? We live in a world obsessed with winning. Winning debates. Winning attention. Winning approval. Yet the more we chase these victories, the more we lose something far more precious, our peace. There is a secret power that most people never discover. A force so subtle, yet so transformative, that once you master it, your entire life shifts. That power is not found in louder words, sharper comebacks, or clever arguments. It lies in something most people overlook, the power of non-reaction. Now, let me be clear, this isn't weakness. This isn't indifference. This is wisdom. True wisdom. Because sometimes the most intelligent response is no response at all. Think about it. How many times have you taken the bait when someone insulted you, only to later regret wasting your time? How often have you been trapped in the cycle of proving yourself right, while the other person wasn't even listening? The harsh truth is, most people who provoke you don't want your truth. They want your reaction. And every time you give it to them, you hand them your energy. You give them control. But what if you stopped playing that game? What if you learned the art of stillness, the kind of calm that no insult, no provocation, no challenge can shake? That's not passivity. That's mastery. From childhood, we're conditioned to fight back. Someone insults us? We defend. Someone challenges us? We argue. Someone mocks us? We strike. Society tells us this is strength. But in truth, it's a trap. The moment you react without awareness, you hand over your peace. It's like sailing a boat across the ocean, and instead of moving toward your destination, you stop every time someone throws a stone at you, picking it up, throwing it back, wasting precious time. While you're distracted, life's wind, the force that should be carrying you forward, dies down. Reactivity isn't strength. It's slavery. Slavery to your ego, slavery to your emotions, slavery to people who thrive on stealing your focus. And here's the bitter truth, most arguments you've had in your life, whether with strangers online or loved ones at home, didn't end with peace, didn't end with understanding. They ended with tension. With walls built higher. With exhaustion. Why? Because those battles were never about truth. They were about ego. Why do we argue so much? Why do we find ourselves defending opinions as if they were our very flesh and blood? The answer lies in one word, ego. Ego is a fragile thing. It feeds on validation, thrives on being right, and lives in constant fear of being wrong. When someone disagrees with us, it isn't just an opinion being challenged, it feels like our entire identity is under attack. So, we fight back. Not because the issue matters, but because the ego whispers, if you lose this argument, you lose yourself. But here's the truth the ego doesn't want you to know, you are not your opinions. Your worth is not measured by how many times you prove someone wrong. Look closely and you'll notice, most arguments aren't about truth at all. They're about unresolved emotions. A person who feels insecure is quicker to lash out. Someone carrying anger from elsewhere is more likely to start a fight. When they challenge you, it's rarely about what you said. It's about the storm they're carrying inside. And here's the danger, when you argue back, you don't just debate their words, you absorb their storm. Their anger becomes your anger. Their negativity infects your spirit. Before long, what began as a small disagreement turns into a battlefield of emotions, leaving you drained and restless. Think about your last argument. Did you walk away with joy? With clarity? With peace? Or did you walk away heavy, frustrated, still replaying the words in your head? That's the ego's trap. It convinces you that if you can win, you'll feel better. But winning an argument where no one was listening is not victory, it's emptiness. The cost of an argument is rarely visible in the moment. It shows up later. The tension that lingers. The silence between friends. The stress you carry into bed. The regret of words you can't take back. And the worst part? Most of the time, the argument wasn't even necessary. It was never about the truth, it was about the ego's need to dominate. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from attachment, and one of the strongest attachments humans have is the attachment to being right. We cling to our opinions as if they are our life force. We can't let go because the ego equates surrender with defeat. But real wisdom sees through this illusion. Imagine being free from that need. Imagine not caring whether someone agrees with you or not, because your truth does not depend on their approval. Imagine not wasting your precious energy trying to convince those who have no intention of listening. That's not weakness. That's liberation. There is an ancient Buddhist story that captures the essence of wisdom better than entire libraries of philosophy. A man was once walking down the street when another, filled with anger, hurled insults at him. He mocked his appearance, questioned his character, and tried with all his strength to provoke him. But the man simply smiled and kept walking. A bystander, confused, asked, "Why didn't you respond? Why didn't you defend yourself?" The man replied calmly, "If someone offers you a gift, and you choose not to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" This is the essence of non-reaction. Other people's words, whether insults, criticisms, or attacks, are like gifts. They are offerings of poison. If you refuse to accept them, they remain with the giver. But the moment you react, you take the poison into your own heart. Every insult you answer, every provocation you meet with anger, is like sipping a cup of poison that was never yours to drink. Yet most of us swallow it instantly, without hesitation. Think about how automatic your reactions have become. Someone raises their voice, you raise yours. Someone mocks you, you defend yourself. Someone pushes, you push back. It's like a reflex, hardwired into us since childhood. Society applauds standing up for yourself, but rarely celebrates the strength it takes to simply walk away. But here's what wisdom teaches: not everything deserves your response. When you argue with someone who is not seeking truth but seeking dominance, you lose before the battle even begins. Because their victory isn't in proving you wrong, their victory is in watching you lose your calm. Buddhist philosophy often uses nature as a mirror for human behavior. It says, the wind can stir up dust, but it cannot move a mountain. When you practice non-reaction, you become that mountain. The storms of insult may swirl around you, but they cannot shake you. They cannot uproot you. They cannot rob you of your peace. This does not mean you feel nothing. It means you are free to choose which emotions to act upon. The difference is enormous. Anyone can shout when provoked. Anyone can argue when attacked. But to remain calm, to stay unshaken, that requires true mastery of the self. Silence is often misunderstood. People assume that silence is surrender, that ignoring someone means they have won. But silence, when chosen consciously, is not weakness. It is strategy. It is strength. Imagine someone throwing a fishing line into the water, waiting for you to bite. That's what provocation is. The moment you react, you're caught in their game. But if you stay still, the bait loses its power. The fisherman grows frustrated, realizing he cannot control you. This is the art of the non-response, a power that turns the tables without lifting a finger. The one who reacts is controlled. The one who remains calm is in control. The moment you refuse to give away your energy, something magical happens, the balance of power shifts. The aggressor, who thrived on your reaction, finds themselves powerless. Their anger burns out. Their words dissolve into emptiness. And you remain untouched. That's not just self-control, it's self-mastery. If arguments really brought clarity, the world would be a peaceful place. But think about it, how many of your heated debates ended with both sides smiling, shaking hands, and saying, "Now we truly understand each other"? Almost never. Why? Because most arguments aren't about truth. They're about ego. When someone disagrees with us, we don't just hear a different perspective, we feel attacked. Their words hit deeper than logic, they strike at identity. And once identity is threatened, the conversation is no longer about facts. It's about survival. The ego steps in and says, you must win, or you lose yourself. But here's the paradox: the more we try to win arguments, the more we actually lose. People rarely argue about the surface issue. A small comment about chores turns into an explosion between partners. A casual disagreement online spirals into insults between strangers. Why? Because behind the words are unresolved emotions: anger, insecurity, frustration, loneliness. When someone picks a fight with you, it's often not about you at all. You just became the outlet for their bottled up storm. And if you step into that storm, you get swept away by it. Their anger becomes your anger. Their stress infects your peace. This is why so many arguments feel draining rather than productive. They are not about solving problems, they are about transferring energy. The other person unloads their burden, and you, without realizing it, pick it up. Let's say you win the argument. You prove your point. You silence the other person. What have you really gained? Did you change their heart? Did you dissolve their anger? Did you find peace? Usually, the answer is no. At best, you scored a temporary ego boost, a hollow victory that fades as soon as the next conflict arises. At worst, you created resentment, widened distance, and drained your own spirit. True strength doesn't lie in defeating others. It lies in refusing to be dragged into battles that don't deserve your energy. Buddhism teaches that suffering is born from attachment. And one of the deepest attachments humans have is the obsession with being right. We cling to our opinions as if they were oxygen. The idea of someone rejecting them feels unbearable. But here's the liberating truth: your truth remains valid even if no one agrees with you. You don't need validation to make your perspective real. Imagine how freeing it would feel to release the need to convince everyone. Imagine letting go of the weight of always defending yourself. That's not weakness, it's power. Because once you stop needing approval, arguments lose their grip on you. It takes courage to argue. But it takes far greater courage to let go. When you stop fighting every battle, when you choose silence over reaction, when you value peace over ego, you step into a different kind of strength. The kind of strength that cannot be taken away. And that's where wisdom begins. Imagine a life where no insult can disturb your mind. Where no argument can steal your energy. Where no person's opinion has the power to shake your inner world. This isn't fantasy, it's the reward of mastering non-reaction. Most people live like puppets, pulled by the strings of others' words and actions. One insult ruins their mood. One disagreement ruins their day. One harsh comment ruins their peace. But you don't have to live like that. When you learn the art of stillness, the art of silence, the art of choosing which battles to fight, you cut the strings. You are no longer controlled by others. You control yourself. And that is real freedom. Strength is not in shouting louder. Strength is not in proving your point. Strength is not in winning debates no one will remember. True strength is walking away with peace still intact. True strength is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. True strength is not being moved by every storm that passes through your life. The ego will tell you this is weakness. But ego is a liar. The greatest warriors are not those who fight every battle, they are those who know which battles are worth their energy, and which battles are not. Sometimes silence is the loudest voice. Sometimes the choice to not respond sends a stronger message than 1,000 words ever could. When you refuse to be provoked, you show the world something rare: inner mastery. People may try to shake you, but when they see their words no longer control you, they lose interest. They realize you cannot be moved. And in that moment, you become the mountain, the one who stands unshaken while the winds of anger blow around you. So the next time someone tries to pull you into conflict, pause. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? Will this lead to growth, or will it only drain me? Is my peace worth losing over this moment? If the answer is no, then walk away. Smile. Let silence do the work. Because in the end, the greatest victory is not in defeating others, it's in conquering yourself. Your peace is priceless. Protect it. Your energy is sacred. Save it. Your silence is powerful. Use it wisely. The art of ignoring is not indifference, it is intelligence. It is wisdom. It is freedom. So let the world argue, shout, and fight. You don't need to join. You don't need to prove. You don't need to defend. Because real strength is calmness. Real victory is peace. And the wisest response is sometimes no response at all.